The White Rose, German students who risked everything against Hitler's regime. Munich, 1942. The air was thick with fear, suspicion, and silence. The kind of silence that drowns out truth. The kind of silence that can kill. And yet, from within this silence, a whisper began to rise, delicate but unshakable. That whisper was called the White Rose. Imagine being a young student, full of ideals and dreams, attending one of Germany's most prestigious universities. Your lectures are filled with science, philosophy, medicine, but the world outside your classroom is filled with horror. You know that speaking the truth could get you killed. But what if you can't stay silent anymore? This is the story of Sophie Scholl, Hans Scholl, and the brave circle of friends who dared to defy Hitler's regime, not with guns or armies, but with words. Hans Scholl had once been part of the Hitler Youth. Like many others, he believed the propaganda. But something inside him cracked when he saw the truth. What was happening to Jews, to dissenters, to the soul of Germany. And when his younger sister Sophie joined him at the University of Munich, she too saw the lie, the cruelty, the silence. So they started writing. Not love letters, not essays, leaflets. Each one was a cry for justice, typed on thin sheets of paper, urging Germans to resist the Nazi dictatorship. They spoke of morality, courage, and conscience. They wrote things like, "We will not be silent. We are your bad conscience. The White Rose will not leave you in peace." These words were copied by hand, distributed in mailboxes, left in phone booths, dropped in lecture halls. It was bold. It was illegal. It was deadly. Their group included Christoph Probst, Alexander Schmorell, Willy Graf, students, thinkers, human beings who simply refused to close their eyes. They knew what they were risking. Still, they went on. One February morning in 1943, Hans and Sophie entered their university with a suitcase full of leaflets. They scattered them through the halls. Then from the top of the atrium, Sophie flung a stack into the air. The leaflets fluttered down like snow, white rose petals of rebellion. But someone saw them. The Gestapo came. Hans had a leaflet in his coat pocket. Sophie had no way out. They were arrested on the spot. Interrogations began immediately. The Nazi interrogators expected Sophie to cry, to beg, but she didn't. She looked them in the eye. She said, "What we said and wrote is what many people think. They just don't dare say it out loud." Hans and Sophie were sentenced to death 3 days later. No fair trial, no mercy. On February 22, 1943, just hours before the execution, Sophie wrote her final words. "How can we expect righteousness to prevail when there is hardly anyone willing to give himself up individually to a righteous cause? What does my death matter if by our acts thousands are warned and alerted?" She was only 21. They led her to the guillotine. Her last words were, "Such a fine sunny day, and I have to go. But what does my death matter if through us, thousands of people are awakened and stirred to action?" 3 heads fell that day. Hans, Sophie, Christoph. Silence again, but not for long. The Gestapo tried to erase their leaflets, burn them, destroy the names. But something miraculous happened. One of their final pamphlets, the 6th leaflet, was smuggled out of Germany. Allied planes dropped millions of copies across German cities. The words of the White Rose flew further than they ever imagined. They had no weapons, no army, just a typewriter, a duplicating machine, and truth. Today, streets, schools, and statues in Germany honor their names. But the most powerful tribute is the whisper that became a roar. What would you have done? Would you have dared to speak when others were silent? Would you have risked everything for a cause you believed in? The White Rose was not just a resistance movement, it was a reminder that even in the darkest times, a few brave hearts can light the way.
History connects us all. What's your view on this event topic? Comment your thoughts below. Please like, share and subscribe for more interesting facts.